Hi. This is not a real smile. I'm actually in a lot of pain right now. I am also distracting myself by wrapping homemade cookies, which I'll fill you in on why I have these later on in the video. But I feel like first we need to talk about the doctor's appointment and what we learned in MD Anderson this last time. It's kind of hard for me to talk about, and I don't know if it's so hard for me to talk about as much as it's just annoying. We're kind of numb to it. We've told a lot of people by this point because it was some really big news, so we had to individually call a lot of our family members and really close friends before we could update social media like y'all. And so it just makes it to where I realized how weird this is going to look. Me just shimmening a knife up. So I'm distracting myself while we tell this. Last time we were in Houston, we told y'all that basically we were going to take a break from videoing and just spend a couple days together because we got some not great news at the doctor's office. And so, mind you, the way that we're telling this and the way that we will be recapping this is a recap and does not even come close to the real and raw emotions that we were actually feeling in those moments. Between technology issues and us literally running out of space on our phones, which is how we record these vlogs, and everything, we could not, from a technical standpoint, video everything and tell you what was happening in the moment, because we had no space. But there was also that side that it was, I don't want to say shocking, but it was just big.
And it turned into less important for us to do videos and more important for us to be by ourselves and be together, reach out to family and stuff like that.
Because it was almost like a re-diagnosis almost. And so, when I first initially got diagnosed with cancer, I didn't just immediately hop on YouTube and be like, oh, guess what? Like if you've been watching from the beginning, you actually know that we didn't start sharing our story until I was like on my 5th treatment or something. Like it was later on that we're like, okay, this is how we're going to share the story. So yeah, just know that these emotions are toned down and big picture view, step back, not anything like we were feeling in the moment. So
speaking of big picture view, we go into the doctor's office and met a new lady, the fellow.
Yeah, she was a fellow.
Yeah.
She's really nice. I forgot her name,
yeah.
But I really liked her. She was our oncologist fellow.
Yeah.
First time we saw her, but I liked her and I hope we see her again.
Yeah.
She made things easy.
The fellow basically told us the immunotherapy is not working, and we are stopping the immunotherapy. And since the immune therapy is the only drug
No. She didn't tell us that. Top first one who said the treatments failed. She just told us, like, where everything was and, like, why I was feeling what I was feeling and, like, where the tumors were. Because she asked, like, how in detail do you want this to go? And you said bare minimum. And she said, cancer's growing. And you're like, okay, give a little bit more detail. The doctor was the one who said the treatments failed. We're moving you to something else.
Either way, one of the doctors told us that the treatment failed.
I think I said his name in that.
Yep, you did.
Okay.
Edit.
Yeah, we got enough.
What happened?
I leaned forward and a nerve or a muscle or something pinched. It's locked up. I can't move right now. I'm just gonna have to stay here for a minute. We might as well keep videoing. I'm gonna have to be here. I can't sit back. Whew.
So, long story short, the doctor told us that the immune therapy has failed and it's not working anymore.
Which it was. We met a new doctor. She was a fellow, and we really liked her, and we hope we get to continue working with her. She explained a lot of what was happening in my body, and made it really easy to understand like what was going on and how it affected everything. But thank you, butter. So she explained things really well, but it was our actual oncologist who sat us down and was like actually said the words. I'll never forget it. Treatment has failed. And he just said treatment has failed. And in the moment I was, I guess, kind of preparing myself for it because we knew that there was tumor growth and spreading and more pain and problems based off of what the fellow had told us. But to sit across from our oncologist and hear the words, treatment has failed, it reminded me of when we sat across and they said, you have stage 4 kidney cancer. Like, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
And it's hard to process in the moment. So I was relatively calm.
I wasn't.
Well, I think you did better this time than you did with, my actual diagnosis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, long story short, the doctors our fight has shifted from battling cancer and fighting against it with a chance of remission to surviving with.
And the reason for that is the immune therapy that we were on is the only treatment, as far as chemo and immune therapy, that actually has been proven to put patients into remission, like completely kill cancer, well, my type of cancer, and be done.
Yeah, unfortunately, the way he described it, that her cancer is fairly rare, and there's not a lot of research on it.
So they just haven't been able to come up with a cure because they haven't seen it enough times to
actually
be able to.
So
that was loud.
Sorry. So that means we are on another drug which will stop or halt the progression.
You're talking really loud. It's hurting my ears.
Stop or halt the progression. Slow it down. And his words, hopefully in a few years they will have another type of drug that is invented that can help her go into remission. And so,
So
we're buying time.
We were holding out for remission and everything. We knew it was going to be hard because of the type of cancer I have and how aggressive it is. But sorry if you can hear the annoying AC in the background.
I'll turn it off.
I just realized how loud that was on video, probably. But it, to go from the hope of okay, we know that it's a slim chance, but we're aiming for remission right now. And that's not to say that we still aren't aiming for, remission. It's just, even the doctors, everybody was on the same page. Remission is what we're working towards, and it's going to be hard to get there, but that's what we're expecting, and that's where we're going. And so, to hear your doctor say, we just want to help make you as comfortable as possible. We just want to improve your quality of life.
And we might talk about hospice in the near future, and getting help in the home, and that's the part that really struck me was.
And he did say, he's like, we're not to the hospice point yet,
yeah.
Don't freak out. But it was a serious enough conversation with enough heaviness that he needed to warn us that hospice could be a thing that we have to pursue or that we would need. And Aaron said that's pretty big.
Yeah. So obviously we shut off the phones. We had an amazing photo shoot.
We did. That was the surprise. It was the surprise that I had told you all about, several weeks ago before we even went to Houston that we were prepping for. We had the best time with Sarah Lindholm. I can't pronounce her last name, but I will tag her down below and everything. She is amazing. She was so flexible. I know we said this in one of our previous videos when we were talking right after the photography session, but I just can't sing her praises highly enough. It was such a special experience, and I'm so glad that she was the one that we chose. It was amazing. And since then, we've gotten the photos back, so I'll make sure to be posting a lot of those so that y'all can see everything, so we're really excited about it.
Yeah. So when we got back, we obviously we were still shocked and stunned and
having to tell all of our family, which means repeating the conversation and what happened at the doctor's office over and over and over again to a lot of different people, because we didn't feel like that would be an appropriate message to send over Remind 101, which is what we usually do for just basic updates. We have a Remind 101 group for our family and close friends. And this was just too big to just say blatantly like that.
So we made all of our phone calls and we made all of our texts, and we made cookies apparently. But I think one of the biggest things that came out of this was
still yelling again. Your voice is raised and it's hurting me. It's probably just my sensory disorder. So
I think one of the things that the biggest thing to come out of this was. Am I still hurting your ear?
Mm-hmm. It's okay.
One of the biggest things to come out of this is
I can't see your face.
One of the repeating. One of the biggest.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm done. I'm trying. I'm sorry. I've really annoyed Darren today.
I love you.
I'm shutting up now.
I love you.
I'm gonna wrap cookies and let Darren talk.
Okay, I'm gonna sit over here and hopefully I don't. Am I hurting your ear still? Okay. So, one of the biggest things to come out of this was, I think, your decision to. We've been in a holding pattern for the last 9 months. We will get back to the business when remission happens. We will get back
or
to...
Or when the tumor shrinks or something.
Or we'll get back to life whenever the pain dies down. And we'll get back to doing all the things that we normally do when we see the progress that we've been shooting for. Well, that's not the progress. That's not what we're getting. We're
It's like it kind of got taken away from us.
So instead, we're moving forward. You know, like this, it's like, okay, instead of waiting for life to begin, we're just going to start living life because we haven't lived life in the last 9 months. We've been waiting to live life.
Which I think also, in a way, it kind of reminds me of just how severe, I guess severe the situation is, because before this, our doctors were telling us, and I guess that's the thing that just kind of hits me hard, is just all of a sudden we're going to go back to, quote, normal life. Because before this, our doctors were very persistent in, hey, like, try to have a quality of life, do normal things, but don't push yourself. Like, don't hurt yourself anymore. Like, you need to be careful, buy your time, you need to rest, give your body as much chance to heal as possible, which means you can't be wearing yourself out a lot. And when you have a grapefruit and growing sized tumor in your body, on top of already being diagnosed with fibromyalgia and all of the problems that... There's a dog. I think the mailman might be here. When you are dealing with all those problems, even on my best day, where I feel better than I usually do, is still going to require me to push, and significantly push. And so for them to go from don't push to live your life while you got it, basically, is what it boiled down to from the doctor's perspective. That was a really big shift, because all of a sudden it was like just using the time that, quote, I have left is more important than buying more time for me. And that hit hard for me.
Yeah, you said it. So we got a dog. We already have 2.
So, yeah, it's been a lot. I know that a lot of you are probably going to ask, because this is one of the biggest questions we always get, is, okay, where exactly is the tumor? Like, how far is this? What's actually going on in your body? So, for those of you who are just watching the current video, this one right here, the tumor started as a grapefruit-sized mass over my left kidney. But you could still see the kidney and everything. It was about the size of a grapefruit, this big, kind of a convoluted shape. And
if you can imagine the kidney sticking out the top of this grapefruit.
Yeah.
It's like a gourd. Like how like the gourd.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe I'll be able to get a hold of one of my x-rays or something, and one day I'll be able to actually post it. I'm sure I probably could if I really tried and wanted to. I'm just really not going to being honest, not going to put forth the effort into doing that, because I don't like looking at my scans. It's a very, very obvious reminder of what's going on. But the tumor had started just on that left kidney, and they saw little bitty spots in the lungs that they couldn't even tell were tumors. They thought initially it was just like debris from the scan, because they were that tiny. It had spread to the liver.
Yeah, there was, four things in the liver?
Four really small nodules in the liver.
Yeah.
And there was it was heading up towards the heart.
There's a blood clot.
There's a blood clot, headed up towards the heart.
And then there was also a bit of blood clot in the lung.
Yeah.
Which, come to find out, that bit of blood clot in the lung wasn't just, it broke off from somewhere and went up there. It's like, no, it's part of the cancer.
It's
apparently something that I learned. Apparently, cancer just it develops a blood clot. That's part of it.
Especially this type of cancer with the kidney, because the kidneys function when they're functioning, they get all the waste and everything out of your body, and so when that's not working properly, your blood goes to certain areas and it just gets clogged up because everything's being pushed to one place, and it gets overloaded.
So this particular time when we got the scans,
It was a lot.
everything has increased in size.
Pretty much.
You can't really see the kidney anymore. It doesn't look like a gourd. It just looks like a
Yeah, they said it's completely and totally enveloped.
encapsulated.
Which is, upsetting because we had just recently the kidney embolectomy to the left kidney to try to cut off blood supply to the kidney and therefore cut off blood supply to the tumor. And it didn't work. That's what we found out this time around, is that what they were hoping that it would do long term after the surgery to stop the tumor, it didn't work. It just made the tumor mad, and the tumor found other ways to get blood to itself, because now there is no more kidney. It's completely covered with tumor.
And also, I think what was interesting. What the heck?
What?
Oh, I thought I heard something. Anyway, interestingly enough, we went in. They were like, "Oh, you have 100%, or 80% kidney function, with your kidney on your left hand side, it's not doing anything."
Yeah, they had told us before the surgery that
it's been dead for a long time now.
It's likely to have been dead for a long time, and so we didn't have to worry about it. And I even remember doing a video telling y'all that one of our biggest worries was, if we did the kidney embolectomy, would we be cutting off supply to a perfectly good kidney and losing function? And they were like, no, I don't really think that's something you have to worry about. It is a chance, but pretty much it's not going to happen.
And as usual, the extremely unlikely scenario is exactly what happened.
Because I'm the unicorn.
You are a unicorn. Her kidney function is down by about 50% after the embolectomy.
Which means that the kidney that the tumor is on and growing on
was a perfectly viable kidney.
Which
makes absolutely no sense. But
it was perfectly viable, and we killed it. It's difficult to look back at that decision because of some of the problems we're dealing with now, which we'll get into, later on. But it's hard not to play the blame game, because this is something that we foreseen. So, we
took the chance knowingly.
We took the chance knowingly, but this was something we were worried about. And so it would be easy for us to play the blame game to the doctors, because it was their idea to do this and everything. But honestly, there was no way scientifically to tell 100% for sure which kidney was functioning the best. And so why wouldn't you assume that the grapefruit-sized tumor that is all over the left kidney has caused the left kidney to not work as well? Of course, yeah.
That would be the logical assumption.
But I'm different. Oh.
So, we got a dog.
No, baby. Other than the kidney function being down and the tumor completely covering up the left kidney completely, the 4 nodules that were in the liver at the beginning of my diagnosis, there were basically 2 small ones and 2, quote, larger ones. Now we're saying this in perspective to how big they were. All 4 of them were very small to begin with. Just of those 4, there were 2 smaller and 2 bigger. And the bigger ones shrunk.
Nope.
And what?
Bigger ones got bigger, smaller ones got smaller.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Which, in my brain, I'm not sure how scientifically backed this is, but the speed at which this tumor is growing, if size is exponential, the smaller one, basically anything larger than the smallest speck, that immune therapy didn't touch.
Yeah.
It outstripped it. So we did see some success with the immune therapy on the small ones in the liver and in the beginning.
In the beginning, everything was looking upward, but the further we went along, the worse it got, as far as showing a progressive positive report. And in addition to the kidney, where was I? I've got really bad brain fog today, guys. There was the kidney function that was lost. The tumor has completely surrounded the kidney. You can no longer see the left kidney. The smaller places in the lung or the liver got smaller, bigger got bigger. The places in the lungs that they thought were just tiny little specks, it is now confirmed that they were, and always have been, growth of the tumor. And those have grown as well. Not significantly, but they have grown to the point where they can definitely say, yes, that is spread of the tumor. And I didn't know this. I I thought that everything on with my bones was fine, but we also reiterated, like they reiterated to us that, what was it about my spine?
Decalcification, I believe that's what they call it, which is sort of a, like, what they said was, like, if you didn't know that you had cancer and someone took a shot of your spine and was like, there's some decalcification on this particular area, that would indicate that, hey, there's cancer in your body somewhere.
Yeah, it's one of the first like telltale signs. If you happen to get a scan before any other symptoms, they can see it in the bones. So it's not like an actual spread of the cancer or tumor. It's just a very significant sign that yes, there is cancer in this body.
Which we have. We know we have. So, leading from all of the scans and all of the doctor appointments, and once we got home, and
the treatment has failed.
Yeah, they put us
all
on
other people.
They put us on this new medication called Cabametics, which apparently I think it just got approved by the FDA sometime very recently.
I think in February of 2021, so it's only been on the market like right before I got diagnosed, pretty much.
It is $800 a pill.
Per pill.
So we're talking
$800 per pill.
So roughly what, 2300? 23,000 a bottle, yeah. So
just to keep me alive.
Just to extend the life, right?
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like just to hopefully extend my life. Which, when you put it like that, like it's literally just in giving me the chance to live longer and live a full life. It's $23,000, and that is a very, very I don't like that. Like that, it really grates on me.
But we have to count ourselves blessed. I mean,
yes.
There is no other way to put it, because there is no other way to say it. That is, we are blessed. We are 100% blessed, because
and God always provides. Yeah. That's the other thing. Always provides.
Since it's so new and they're so, the medication's so expensive, they're just like, yeah, we have, programs to help, it literally calls the EASE program, EASE, which
ease your payments and stuff like that.
Which we qualified for 0%. They give us the meds for free. So, I mean, look, that's a big thing for
with
me.
Our insurance. Like it's only we only get it free through our insurance and combined with EASE. Because it's a specialty medication. If we just went through our insurance alone,
it's like $5,000 a month or something like that.
We would still have to be paying. And so, since our deductible for insurance is $13,000, and the pills are $23,000 just for 1 month, we pretty much within the first month of each year knock out our deductible. Now, granted, that's still a lot of money to pay. Like $13,000 a year is a huge chunk to have to put out there, but there has been help, and we still have people who are financially blessing us, along with physically blessing us, and helping us.
Yeah.
And
I mean, just because
all been through the grace of God.
Yeah, just because the meds are covered doesn't mean that scans are covered. Doesn't mean that the trips are out to Houston are covered.
So there's still the out-of-pocket cost.
There's still, basically everything. Nothing has changed. It's just this particular pill is.
We know the numbers to this pill.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Speaking of numbers to the pill, since there's no I've been suffering with heartburn and indigestion and nausea really, really bad lately. Okay. I might be a little slower to talk, but I'll be okay. The pill is not for remission, because they haven't found something scientifically that does that yet for this type of cancer. But Cabametics, basically 50% of patients who take it respond. Yeah. And of those 50%, they could respond in one or two ways. It either just stops the tumor from growing, halts the aggressiveness to where there's no more growth, and so we would still be living with everything that's in my body now. It just wouldn't progress past that. So it wouldn't really take away any of the symptoms or pain I'm experiencing. It would just stop new things from coming. But there is the other side, that not only does it stop it, but it also shrinks it a little bit, to a certain point. He didn't. He made it sound like if it does shrink, it's not going to be a huge significant amount, because he said that we would still have to keep through all the pain medicines. It was still going to, be painful and everything, just because of how big it is.
Yeah. So, and recently, not only that has popped up in our life, but also her wisdom teeth are coming in.
We're having a lot of fun over here, guys.
Yeah. So we went to her and her grandmother went to the oral surgeon yesterday, and they took an X-ray and said, "Yep, nope, we're gonna go in there and we gotta take them out." So
all 4 of them are being removed. Which, since we started Cabametics as a new drug, I've actually been feeling jaw pain, like back here. It's just my jaw will get tight and lock up for quite some time now, like since before we went to Houston. But within the last 2 weeks, since we've gotten back from Houston, it's really bad. I can't open my mouth very wide without it hurting. If your wisdom teeth get impacted, which one of mine is, then you are likely to experience headaches and migraines, ear pain, nausea, pain on just one side of the throat, swollen lymph nodes on one side, difficulty swallowing.
Check.
Yep,
Check.
difficulty swallowing,
Check.
loss of appetite, gum soreness, literally everything.
So one of the things that I've been super concerned with is her weight.
Because we are down to 120.
She's so nauseated that she can't eat. So
Eating food makes me nauseous.
doesn't matter what food it is, just any amount, any kind.
My quote meals consist of trying to snack throughout the day, and even with snacks, I can take maybe 3 to 5 bites, and 5 is if I'm like really, really hungry and pushing myself.
No. So there's been a lot of struggle. There's been a lot of pain. There's been a lot of hurt and ache. But like we said earlier, we're just trying to get back to living and get back to some sort of semblance of normalcy.
We're still trying to figure out how to do that, and we'll take y'all along on the journey for how to do that in a separate video, because it's a lot. But for the sake of living, Darren,
We got a dog.